I can tell which day you guys are. How you dress depends on if you have purpose.
Or whether I got to go home and change. But I went all day just. Did you see him? Ace
All right, it is a little bit past 6 o'clock on Tuesday, May the 28th, 2019. We'll call to order this meeting of the Murphysboro City Council. I ask that we would all rise. We have in attendance with us this evening Pastor Jim Fry. I would ask him to lead us in an invocation.
Thank you, Lord, for this night, and we ask that you be with us in the conversations that go on here. We may not always agree, but might we come to a consensus to continue to help the city of Murphysboro move forward, help each one in their activities and in the committee meetings that go into the preparation for tonight. In your name we pray.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Fry. Clerk Hunsaker, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Hughes. Here. Alderman Curry Wiseman. Alderman Brown. Here. Alderman Pearson.
Here.
Alderman McComb.
Here.
Alderman Urvis.
Here.
Alderman Bratton.
Here.
Alderman Bastian.
Here.
Alderman Campos.
Here.
Alderman Pittman.
Here.
Mayor Stevens.
Here. And I would note that I did get a message from Ms. Curry Wiseman saying that she would be here, but she'd just be a few minutes late. So with that, we'll get into the items on the agenda tonight. We have up first the consideration of council minutes from May the 14th, 2019. And I'd entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes. Hearing none, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Up next, we have the consideration of accounts payable registers. And I would entertain any questions on the bills. Mr. Bratton.
All right, on this 777, page 3, ESA Incorporated troubleshooting UV system. That's the sewer plant. Page 4, reimbursed for car washes, $40.
That's Jackie Kruger down at the plant. And they did the road and
Gotcha, I got you, yeah,
we
okay,
agreed to clear the water.
yeah, that's more than reasonable. On page 6, you purchased a camera for $399.98.
Yeah, that was on the work comp grant, a couple cameras that we needed
For what?
security cameras.
Oh, security cameras? Where did they go?
They've not been installed yet. The one is going in the fire department, I believe the other one's at the admin building.
Okay. That's all I have, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bratton. Any other questions on the bills this evening, Ms. Hughes?
I don't have anything on this, but I do wonder if we found out anything about the bill that we held last time on, for, the repair that had mileage and such, mileage and service calls on 2, different backhoes. Do we know anything about that?
I'm glad you reminded me of that because I had totally drifted out of my mind. Sandra, you look like you may have something to offer.
Leslie did talk to Tim Lee, and the mileage was split between the two.
Okay, so we weren't charged for that twice.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Mr. Urvis?
Page 5, NATO finance, lease.
That's for
Is
the
that our postal machines?
postal machine.
All right, if there's nothing else, I entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that takes us to our regular committee and commissioner reports chaired by Mr. W.J. Pittman. W.J.?
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. Under old business, we have status of project reimbursements, and I guess I'll throw that back to you.
I spoke with Lori Lingus, I think is her name, today from the insurance company, and she said she was still waiting on a report from the engineers that are investigating it for them. I kind of knew in my mind what the whole thought process of the council was at the last meeting, and so with that, I've prepared a letter to Mr. Pius, just stating that, we have these costs to repair the sewer line of $140,051.06. And it says, of course, we realize that there's an insurance claim that has been filed, that the determination of fault is still pending. But we believe the city can no longer wait to be reimbursed, and your timely response is greatly appreciated. I'm more than willing to, send this communication, or if the, council has some suggestion, or otherwise, I'm certainly willing to listen to that also.
Sounds fine to me. Legal has a problem with it or whatever. I think it's a friendly letter, but it's also gets to the point.
Sure it's friendly.
I mean, the entire text of it is the Murphysboro City Council and I are requesting that reimbursement be made to the city for the cost to repair the sewer main located at the former site of the Apple Tree Inn, now Murphysboro Holdings, Inc. As you know, the actions of excavating combined with heavy rains in September of 2018 caused a large section of sewer main to wash out. The cost to repair the line was $140,051.06. While we understand that an insurance claim has been filed and the determination of fault is still pending, we believe the city of Murphysboro can no longer wait to be reimbursed. Your timely response is greatly appreciated. Mr. Urban.
I was thinking we were told at a previous meeting that the insurance company denied the claim.
Well, and I told you that, and that was bad information on my part. That was being told to me by Mr. Rawson, but later, in direct communication with his insurance company, they said that they were still working on it. So that's where it stands. Okay,
Is there any more questions on that item?
Mr. Shepherd?
I did want to point out, we did receive a phone call from their engineers today, so they're asking for some information, and I did call Richard to make sure what we were going to send them. They just wanted some drawings of the existing and the new line, and a copy of the soil report that was done, so we'll get that to them.
And they've asked me a number of questions as well, and so, I mean, I know there is a legitimate process playing out there. I think that this is certainly appropriate. All right.
All right. That's the only item under old business. We have two items under new business that aren't on the agenda. The first is financial reports, which have all got before the meeting prepared by Mr. Scott Evans. Mr. Evans?
Thank you, WJ. Yeah, what I have tonight is a lot of the usuals. Look on page 1, it basically shows what we spent and brought in general fund versus budget. So through the 4 months ending April 30th, general fund has spent $1,503,000 and change. And for the same period, we have budgeted $1,712,000. So we're running $200,000 under budget currently through 4 months. So that's, and you can see the different departments, how that breaks down there. And then, but we're also running slightly under budget in revenues for the same period. We received $1,666,000 and change, and we budgeted basically the same, $1,712,000. So we're about $46,000 under through 4 months, but that's really not that far off by the time you get to the end of the year with the property taxes and such. So anyway, so through 4 months we have a surplus of $162,000 in general fund. And then obviously, one of the big components of that is the salary, which I talk about a lot. So through those same 4 months, the salary, now again, this is gonna pull in water fund too, so it's not completely an answer to the general fund question, but essentially, through 4 months citywide, we have spent $1,086,000 on payroll, and we have budgeted $1,103,000. So we're slightly under budget citywide going through 4 months, so not a bad place to be. Could be certainly much worse. And then finally, the healthcare report. So through 4 months, the general fund has spent $168,000 and change on healthcare, and water fund $40,000, almost just under $41,000. So about $209,000. So I think unless something drastic happens between now and the end of the year, I almost feel safe to say that we should be within budget. That's kind of not a real strong statement, I guess. I put some disclaimers in there because we still got a long time to go. But through the 4 months, we're looking pretty good. The HRA, I think, is working well as designed, and we haven't really had any big surprises yet. Of course, when the rates change in October, that could be a big factor to make that worse, obviously. So, but going into that, we're looking pretty good so far. And that's what I have.
Quote you as saying, on this date, no question we will finish within budget at the end of the year.
It's your meeting, Mayor. You're right with the one.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
You bet.
The only other item under new business, we all have a blue folder in front of us. Mr. McKee is here with a presentation for us.
Yeah, and I met with Mr. McKee, I don't know what's been, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I felt like he made a compelling enough presentation to me that I ought to let him have a few minutes with the city council to tell us about what he and his group may have to offer for us to consider. So I'll turn it over to Mr. McKee from ST Network to tell us all about it.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Board, for letting me entertain a few minutes of your time. If anybody else would like a copy of what I have here. I'm sure you all have heard about people trying to sell you electricity and at a cheaper rate. The good thing about that is I'm not one of them guys. Well, my company is ST Network, and I'm a affiliate partner with a company called Utility Cost Reductions. And what we do is actually forensic auditing of your utilities and find money that you have been overcharged by the utility companies. To start off, you talk about your budget being really close and everything like that. What if I could find you some money that you've overpaid? You have bills that you guys just approved just a few minutes ago, and you had questions about a security camera and about a couple other things on your billing. Have you ever questioned your telephone bill? Have you ever questioned your electric bill? For your case in water and sewer, as your water and sewer, have you ever had any missed billings from the water and sewer department in your township or your city here? Of course you have. What if Cameron or Verizon or any of the other major utilities that you pay for telecom, internet, or anything like that do the exact same thing to you? You know what they do? They just shut you off if you don't pay it. What if there is a billing discrepancy? You have no way of knowing or finding out that they will literally find by line where the discrepancies lie, and they can find that money. We're actually an advocate on the city's behalf. We work well with municipalities. We're right now presently working with Perry County, Jackson County, El Dorado School District, Harrisburg Hospital, SI Bowl, several hotels. I have some friends of mine. I'm in another business, and I got a lot of friends of mine that are in the energy sector in the Northeast, and they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, Jason, would you like to take a look at business model of something that's not going on anywhere in your local area?" And I took a look at this, and I told them that, hey, it makes sense to me, and I know a lot of people that need a lot of money in Illinois, especially municipalities and school districts. And we partnered up with a company called Utility Cost Reductions. They're based out of New York, out of Manhattan. Lily Steinberg is the owner of the company, and she actually created this industry. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, she worked for Mall Bell. She did billing coding for the Bell network, and she realized how many people were being overcharged monthly. So she literally started this industry. She broke away from them, from the company she used to work for, and actually started going after them. Inside this booklet here, you can see several checks of refunds for municipalities and companies and corporations. We work with manufacturers, hospitals, nursing homes, trucking companies, hotels. There's about 15 different industries that are right in our wheelhouse. We have an 87% success rate of finding money. How much of it is yours? The United States House of Representatives House Ways and Means Committee say that the utilities are overcharged about $19 billion a year. In telecom, $60 billion. Some of that money's your guys'. And we work on a contingency basis. We don't, unless we find money, we do not get paid. So we're actually looking for every cent that you guys get because we get more money. So with that being said, also inside this booklet here, if you flip through a few of these pages here, there's actually shows some companies that we actually work with, some Fortune 500 companies, many thousands and thousands of small municipalities and stuff like that. There's a little bit about Lily herself starting the industry. And it also talks about the city of Bethel. Right here, they was able to find $52,000 worth of overcharges that the utility companies done them. You see a $3 million check here in the front. That was last year. A hospital in Syracuse, New York, was overcharged in 6 years, $3 million by AT&T. Right now, they're working with a hospital group that is in New York State also. They think that they had 200 entities to that hospital group. So they're going to recover, they think, in excess of $15 million for that hospital group. There's money out there. I know that every local government is looking for an extra dollar. You said it yourself in your report. You just said that I think my company can find you some money. To be honest with you right now, I'm just starting this company up here in Southern Illinois. I do not have any track record for any other municipality here in Southern Illinois. The city of Heron, I'll meet with them here next week. There's many of them that I'm going to work with that I was able to come to Mayor Stevens here and was able to share with him. I went to people that I knew. I was good friends with Leslie. So I knew somebody here, you know what I mean? You always go to the people you know first whenever you're starting up your business. It's a word of mouth business. And I think once we do make a few recoveries here locally, that I'll get a snowball effect after that. Because who doesn't want money that they didn't even know that they were missing?
So what's the terms of the contract? Of course, you said you worked on a contingency, but can you describe what that is?
So the terms of the contract is a 50-50 cut. So we'll just put it in simple math. We find $100,000 in lost funds that you've overpaid, we're going to split it 50-50 with you. There's no way that you guys will ever find the funds unless you did it, unless you hire a full-time team that'll probably cost you more than that to find the money. This company tracked utility collections. So let's say you started a new substation somewhere, and what if they put it in the wrong tariff for the wrong taxes? You just continue to pay the bill, you don't know that. That over time, your billing errors can compound. Let's just say the sewer plant, for example. Your sewer plant probably has $10,000, maybe up to $10,000 a month worth of utility costs just from hammering alone. What if there's just $100 that they overcharge you every single month? And they've done that for 8 years, the past 8 years. It's not a lot of money, it's money. And it's, I know you guys, sometimes whenever you're in the red, every single black dollar looks good. So it's money that you can be found out there. To get started with us, all we need is literally one copy of absolutely every single utility bill that you pay. 100% of, there's 4 pages to the bill, all 4 pages for electricity, gas, and for your sake, any type of telecom, whether it be internet, television, telephones. The largest recoveries are found in the telecom industry. There seems to, have you ever got your Verizon bill and it said MISC period charge? What's that? It's on the bill. If you look at your Verizon bill, that charge is on your Verizon bill. So it's one of those things where we can go through, find that. once you get started, we need it, there's an inside here, in this booklet right here. This is the terms of agreement for the city attorney, this is the terms of agreement. Also, what happens is if there is a billing discrepancy, Tri-Utilities will actually correct your billing. So say you're in the wrong tariff, they're actually gonna submit the paperwork to get that put in the proper area. So whenever that works, whenever we do something to actually correct the bill, say, for example, there might be a $500 savings from here on out because of the correction that they made on the bill. For 36 months, we split that savings with you 50-50 also. After that time is up, it's all yours.
Any questions from the council on this, Mr. Pratt?
From the time that a client signs off on it, how long does it usually, let's just take a town like this, 8,000 or less population, how long does it take to find if there is or isn't?
They will know within, probably in about 4 to 8 weeks, whether or not there's a legitimate recovery. After that, it's generally about a 6-month turnaround before an actual, whenever I'll bring a very big 5-foot check here and show you guys, whenever that you guys will save some money. So it's a 6 month before there's actually a cut. Just so you know, Lily Steinberg, back some time ago, as you've seen in this also, was in the press a lot. She was on the cover of People magazine, she is in Success magazine, Fortune magazine, and the utility companies in New York State come to her and said, hey, we understand you guys. What we're going to do is if you promise to stay off CNN and CNBC, we will never dispute any of your claims that you guys make to us, because we know that the billionaires are there. And whenever they send you your copy, it's going to be a very, very, very in-depth breakdown of every single change. So like during the middle of the year, there's been a rate change. Well, they continue to charge the same rate they've always been charging you. They're going to break it all down, and line by line by line by line, all the places where they find money. Whenever they do that, in 28 years, Lily has never been taken to court one time. Every time it's been found, she's always had a checkbook.
Any other questions from the council? Mr. Clerk, here.
So does this refund go all directly to your company and then you split it, or do they send half to us and half to you?
You guys will get 100% of that check, and then you will pay the check. From that also brings to my very last point. ST Network is who I'm affiliated with, and all I do is lead generation. I live in the big city of Elkville, grew up in DeSoto. It's one of those things where we are partnered up with in the very back, you'll see the Sustainable Tomorrows. It's a non-for-profit. Lily Steinberg, who owns Tri-Utility Cost Reductions, and the gentleman who started Sustainable Tomorrows, a non-for-profit, are really close friends. And she always donated money to his not-for-profit. So with these funds, what they said is, hey, put together a team of people out there across the country for lead generation. You have them start submitting leads to my company, which is Tri-Utility, and Lily pays out of that 50%. She pays her employees, or they're doing the work. They pay me out here in the field for doing lead generation, and then the rest of the money goes to the non-for-profit. The non-for-profit is actually building sustainable energy grids in Navajo Nation in New Mexico right now. That's their first non-for-profit mission that they're doing. All the rest of the money is, that's how they're actually funding the non-for-profit. If you guys want to, and you want to look online, look up Lily, and her record is impeccable.
What's the pleasure of the council? Do you want to have our city attorney view this before we take action, or?
Well, can we take action? It's not on the agenda, right?
Oh, correct. Excuse me.
So that'll give us time to have Ed look this over and all of us to read it, and I think it sounds like a positive thing.
My card is in there. Anybody's welcome to call me anytime if they have any further questions on anything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
So
time.
we'll put it back
For
on,
your time.
put it back on the agenda for next meeting then.
Very good.
And then
Thank you.
we will have the attorney report also, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you get one?
I've got one.
Thank you.
Won't take long.
That's the last item under new business. Is there any public comment on budget and finance? No public comment. We can move out of budget and finance.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. That takes us to building and ground chair from Mr. Gary McCollum. Gary?
Okay, there's nothing under old business, under new business, and we'll kind of turn this over to Brian. got the fiber optic cable, Brian, it's your rate we need to replace it, isn't it?
Yeah, since the last meeting, I've been, set up some monitoring equipment to monitor, how stable the connection is. And our one remaining connection, drops off 4 to 5 times a day. Went off several times today. I know it interrupted telephone service at the Public Works Building and the sewer plant briefly. So my recommendation is definitely we need to replace the cable.
You know what the cost of that's gonna be, or cost, Brian?
The ballpark, I got 2 ballpark estimates, from 2 different places. They were both right around $5,000.
What would be the council's pleasure? I think we need to replace it. Danny?
I think we need to replace it. If we tried the patch or whatever it was, it's been in there long enough from what Brian told us, and that's who we rely on. I think, and I'll even put it in the motion form to
I'll second
replace
that.
it.
All in favor?
Oh,
Is that one, the one that is actually made for outdoor use?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Anybody else got any questions before we vote? All in favor? Ayes have it. Is there, anything else under new business in our building and grounds? Any public comment? Hearing none, we will come out of building and grounds.
Thank you, Mr. McComb. That takes us to Community Relations Chair by Mr. John Urkus. John?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no old business, and 2 items of new business. Consideration of request for street closure on Chestnut Street, Sunday, June 23rd, from 1 to 5 p.m. Clear where that is.
Christy Miller's here to
Okay.
answer.
Tell us about it.
I can explain a little bit about that. My name's Christy Miller. I am a fitness instructor for a program called Pound, which, like most exercise routine, uses loud music. This one uses rock music. The difference in this routine is that every participant gets a set of specialized drumsticks, and you are actually squatting and lunging, and you're a drummer in the band. Within our Pound community, we do things called Pound and Pour, and usually they are benefits for a nonprofit. So I would like to do an event on June 23rd, and this would be in the city parking lot. The event itself only runs 45 minutes, but with setup and takedown, it would be 1 to 5 or whatever your agenda says. After the workout, we all go into Brews Brothers and we have beer. It's a really great world. Exercise and we go put it right back on. Now, the irony is that I'm on the agenda right next to noise in the neighborhood. So, I mean, we have music, we turn it up. I don't know if there'll be a dozen participants, or my gosh, if there's 50, that's great, because the benefit goes to Relay for Life. So if this goes over well, it'd be great to keep doing it. If it's really hot or if it's raining, then I'll probably have to limit the number of participants and we'll move it inside and there won't be any closure. But I just want to come with a request to try it and see how it goes over.
And you've been currently holding these in the Farmer Dance Studio.
Correct. Yeah, what is now known as Bryder's Body Shop. I've been doing it twice a week for 5, 6 weeks, something like that. So,
I make that motion,
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? That passes. Next item, discussion regarding noise in neighborhood areas.
I'll leave.
All right, well, I could lead this discussion to a certain extent if you like, Mr. Purvis, just because I know that the individuals here to address the matter have reached out to me, and I wasn't able to make the meeting with them earlier, and I think that it is directly related to the River Rats Tavern and the Farmer restaurant there, Tippy's or Hungry Bear. They have put up I guess for lack of a better word, a beer garden in the back area, and I think that has caused some concern from a couple of residents who live in the area, and I'd give them certainly the opportunity to address the council about it at this time.
My name is Roseanne Romero, and supposedly the stage where they're playing the music is right in what divides it is the alley, and my mother's window sits right there, and the music is pretty loud. It's like playing in her house. She is 84 years old. The noise is unbearable, and then after the after party or the music or whatever, then comes all the screaming and the hollering and the having fun type of thing that we can't sleep. And I'm trying to see if there's any way that they can stop. I already talked to the chief of police about the music that they were playing outside. They had like these speakers, and he said he addressed it, but couldn't do anything about it. But they kind of stopped that outside, but then now they put a stage, and then it sits right besides my mother's window, so it's pretty loud. They play twice, and we have to live with it. This is a residential area. I don't understand why this is being accepted in our neighborhood.
I guess go ahead, John.
So is this certain times, when is it happening?
Well, I mean, 84.
Behind there,
This
she
is
lives
stage
above the
that they-
garage
And then
behind
there's the
her.
alley
This is
where.
our-
Okay,
I mean,
all right,
that's the-
okay, okay.
So that's the stage.
Yeah.
This her room right there. Up top.
Oh, mess it up. I know where the stage is. Which way do I go with
So
that?
if you scroll over this way.
Okay,
you go
okay,
right there.
okay.
It's right
Yeah,
there.
it's that, yeah, parking, yeah. So that is actually west of that stage.
Right.
Uh,
Because the stage will be right here.
yeah, I know exactly. So you're looking basically, yeah, half a block to the west and south just a little bit. I know.
The window sits right
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and the stage
Yeah,
is right.
I'm familiar with that alleyway through there.
She lives next to the old car wash on the other street. Her mother lives behind her in the garage.
Okay, I know exactly where it's at. Thank you.
Well,
Yes, Mr. McComb.
the reason why this at night, is we want to even close the alley to have that party for that. I'm sure that's what she's talking
Well, I
about.
don't think we actually closed for the alley, no.
Well, we give him permission if he needed it,
Right.
but, and they did have a heck of a crowd, I drove by there. And, but that's, we done that because we do so much for the brother staff and we're closing our street off. But that, I'm sure that's when that happened.
Mr. Brett?
I've got a suggestion. I know when we first, there were complaints that Brew Brothers, when they first started having theirs, as far as I know, there haven't been any complaints come to the council since then. So, I don't know what was done by the previous administration and the police department, but maybe if we could copy that or just go down and talk to Mr. Giffen and say, look, you know, and that would take care of it,
Already discussed it with him,
okay?
and he told me he would quiet everything down, which he did, but then he told me, well, if she don't like what she's hearing now, she's not gonna like what I've got going in the future, and that's when he was talking about the stage and the beer garden, so.
Well, that was up, I believe, before they had that.
But all the outside activities have just now started to go, because he told me he was planning on putting a fence around it eventually and doing, you know, the full process.
Well, I'm sure we have I'm sure that our attorney knows where the noise ordinance is at. Where can find it.
Right here.
Yeah, okay.
I have it right in
So
my hands.
I think I'd like to hear from him.
Daytime hours, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., nighttime hours, 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. Any device utilizing electric current which amplifies a musical instrument, tuner, phonograph record, magnetic tape, compact disc, or electrical synthesized sound of music is a sound amplifying device. Basically, what it says is that it's unlawful for any person to use or operate the equipment that sends loud and raucous sounds a distance greater than 75 feet during the nighttime hours or greater than 100 feet during the daytime hours from their boundary line. That's what the rule is. I would venture to say that there's nobody in town that could do outlot to be, but that's the rule we have. And I doubt that that can be, satisfied. And I would say you probably need to spend a little time looking at the question and decide where that line needs to be drawn. It was, the last time that was looked at, it was drawn at 100 feet.
I think Chief Ellermeyer may have something to add.
Yeah, and outside of that, because that's the amplification systems, then just in general, you have the disturbing the peace, which would be noise in general. Have that ordinance also that would fit for what she's saying. If they do shut down at 10 o'clock and they're still over there at midnight going on, then that would kick into play, which shouldn't disturb any peace of any family or any kind of congregation of noise or amusement. So that's kind of how that is 27-2-5 is that ordinance.
What's the time frame on that?
That's not a time, that would be almost like any time. So there's more to it than just the amplification that they're dealing with both, I think.
I think we have sort of a neighborhood area, and, it's much different than where I live. I mean, I live right across the street from the Corner Tavern. That's a residential area. The old Rome is in a residential area. I would say that the primary issue here is that we've had a typical use for so long, which was a restaurant, which is now changed to a bar setting, which inevitably creates more noise. And I feel as if, and I told Luke this when I first met with him, that when you have a change of the nature of the business from one thing to the other, that there ought to be some sort of, requirement that communication be made with the neighbors, and perhaps that be considered before the council before we allow structures like a beer garden or whatever to go up. Carbondale, I'm not saying that we need to have a liquor advisory commission necessarily, but, they take a little bit of a deeper look at these things before they're constructed, and it helps to avoid these kinds of scenarios. I don't want to shut down the things Bruce Brothers is doing downtown, because I think those are healthy in a vibrant community. But I think that Ms. Romero mother has a legitimate complaint because her quality of life has been damaged. So this is I could see a little bit of both sides of this thing. That's not probably great leadership out of me, because I'm not telling you what I really think we ought to do, but.
I got a question.
Yes.
Why can't they do it inside and not do it outside where it's so loud for all of us around the neighborhood to have to hear?
Well, I mean, I can't speak on his behalf, but I would say that, a lot of places that are in the business of serving alcohol want their patrons to be able to, go outside and enjoy the nice weather and to, these types of things. That's just what the nature of beer gardens tend to be.
Probably has too big a crowd, and when they have that stuff, to have it all inside anyway.
Well, kind of like with the mayor, I mean, I certainly sympathize for the neighbors, but historically, we have Apple Festival and.
There's plenty of noise-making events that we have. We're not a quiet city.
The Depot's Malio, they used to have bands at night, it's not anything new, so.
I'm not so sure that the Murphysboro Apple Festival wouldn't possibly break the ordinance.
There's no question they do. No question at all.
Well, when they're down at the park, I mean, I'm a mile from the park and I can hear them.
Hey, we got guys going down Walnut Street with these big boom boxes in their cars that are doing worse than that. Sometimes I sit at my office desk in the middle of the afternoon and my windows are shaking from the basins that are going by. Noise is part of what we live with.
I think we ought to try to have our attorney kind of look at it with the chief or whatever, and come up with kind of a recommendation and put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and us be thinking about it, see what we can come up with. If we do decide to make a change in the level or whatever, that will not just affect that one, but it will affect everybody in town?
Well, it may not make a huge difference, but I feel as if we ought to have a better set of guidelines for beer gardens that provide that a wooden fence or a fence that, you know, cannot be seen through. Because currently, to me, it looks like there's just a chain link fence up there, which does absolutely nothing to dampen the, you know, sound emanating from inside of it. Mr. McBride?
With the wooden fence, you're gonna run into the exit problem as well, though. I did stop and talk with Luke the other day, and he said, you know, he's gonna have the gates to the alleyway locked in an open position. With a wood fence, he would still have to have those locked in an open position. He has to have two means of egress from his business. So there would be a large section of it that would have to be open in order to meet the code, the life safety code for. And then it's gonna be a certain width, and there's just a lot of details to it. Another thing that we need to, at some point, be looking at is determining occupancy on all of our assembly occupancies throughout the city, because it should be posted, under life safety code, it should be posted in there as to what the occupancy of the number should be posted as to what is an allowable occupancy for those two, so. All kind of goes along with the same thing.
Mr. McCollum?
I wonder which way you had the speakers outside, because it's going south or north or east, west.
He had them pointed toward the building. But it's
His building.
pointed toward his own building, but it's a brick building. Yeah.
We have to do something about this noise. I mean, to me, I can hear Bruce Brothers at my house at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm a long ways from there. I think we've kind of let this get away from us a little bit on the noise thing, and we let everybody probably do what they want to do, and I think we need to control it somewhere. I'm not sure I'm smart enough to control it. I think we need to get at least a group together and decide, like the police chief and the attorney and our chief, and decide what we gotta do about this, because I understand what these people are going through. This is not fun to have your windows blasted at night. And, if you live on 19th Street, the motorcycles will blast you out of your windows at night, and you know, I feel for them. It's something we gotta address. It's gonna get worse and worse.
It'll affect, and I'm not saying it's not, I feel sorry for you too, but that'll affect our city concerts. It's gonna affect everything. So we gotta take a long, hard look at this.
It's not something we
As
can
to
just
which
jump
direction
into.
we're gonna
It needs
go.
a common sense approach to this thing to get it solved.
I think 10 o'clock is a fairly reasonable time.
Whatever you got then.
I mean, if we could, I don't know how much we enforce it right at 10 to make sure that the noise, you know, ceases at that point. But, I mean, I don't live right next to the place, and I know, you know, the old Rome where it's at, I could used to be able to hear it from my house, and that, I don't know what was done then, but that's not near as loud as it used to be. And I know they probably had speakers out at one point that they don't think they have outside of that thing anymore. I can hear Bruce Brothers from my house, but like I said, I'm not right next door, so, I mean, I definitely sympathize, but I don't, you can't do one thing, it's gonna be that effect on everybody.
Have one person at a time, please.
It will affect all the businesses, whatever we do, so I agree that it's something we need to put a lot of thought into if we're gonna change anything. The distances that Ed read from that, I don't think you can shorten those, you know, if anything, you know, I believe when you're talking about them, the changes, if you made any changes, I think you could extend it out during the daytime hours and, you know, lower it during the nighttime hours, but, you know,
Well, it's
a
a
hard issue
difficult
for sure.
situation because it's so subjective. You know, what bothers one person doesn't bother another, right? And so that's the difficult part of finding what the proper place and terminology is for it. So, well, we'll hold it on the agenda, and I'll try to do some research on it between now and then and see what other communities are doing and see if what we're doing is reasonable or not. And we'll continue continue to consider the issue. I don't know what else that we can, it doesn't sound like we got a consensus of the council otherwise. Ms. Campos?
Thank you. I just want to tell you that party that was going on the 18th or so, that was a special permission that he asked, requested for 1 day. So,
He's had two.
I thought that was for the extension of time to go to 11 o'clock. I didn't realize he didn't say it was just for the extension of time.
Right, correct.
Not the only time he was gonna have it.
Technically, he could have something every
Yeah.
weekend if he wants to.
oh, really?
If he doesn't ask us to close anything down, it's his stage, he can go whatever he wants to do.
Oh, Lord.
Property in a business district.
That night it was extended to 11.
Mr. Bratton?
I'd like to thank you for coming to the council, and I'm sure that we will address this, and hopefully we can address it to where everybody can be happy if that's possible. But, thank you very much. And I appreciate the pictures also.
All right, moving on, any public comment? All three of those?
All right, that takes us to public improvement, chaired by Mr. Mike Bass.
Under old business, we have various properties that are still on the list. First is listed as the El Depot. I know that Alderman Bratton has spoken to Martin, and I have as well. He indicated to me, and I believe he indicated to Alderman Bratton, that he is going to work on the lower windows this summer. To start, yeah, I think he has 4 or 5, 3 or 4, I don't know how many windows he has left on it.
7 to 9.
Yeah, and then he said, I did ask him about the roof, and his response to me was hopefully he will start it sometime this summer. His response to Alderman Bratton was by the end of the year, so that's where we're at on the old depot. South 14th Street, again, to Martin, he has had some a big dumpster out there, he has it full, he has called to have it hauled off, and he said it should take about 1 more dumpster pull and the mess should be cleaned up. I believe he related that to Alderman Bratton as well.
Yes, he did. I spoke to him right before the meeting.
And I did drive down there, I mean, it looks better than it did, so.
They actually worked Saturday, the first day that they would get it all muddied up around there, so.
So, with those two, the next one is, North 17th Street. I don't have an update on that. It's my understanding that they have fixed some fencing there between 17th Street Bar and Grill and whatever building that is. Well, that's Beckman's, but I don't know that he owns that building next to it, does he? I thought it was just him. Well, anyway, he has started working on some of the fencing, so, that's the only update I have on, I know, I haven't got there yet.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And the next one on the agenda I'm going up is Laclede. Back some time ago, well, last meeting, I believe, Alderman McComb asked for that to be put back on, and we at one time were waiting on a inspection by the fire chief. I don't know that she reached out or if that's ever been done, or.
Yeah, I spoke with Danny a couple weeks ago, and at first he said, yeah, we'll schedule a time. And I called back to schedule a time, and he, in the meantime, had changed his mind. He said that we have a engineering study that was done before he bought the place that is on file. I talked to Eric with code, and it is on file. The roof has been repaired inside Danny. I told Danny that I wanted to, for my own benefit, I would like to walk through from a point of getting a layout of the building for firefighter safety. And he said he would consider that if I would send it to him in a written request via mail. And I'm going to do that and see if he'll allow me and a couple of firefighters to walk through and diagram the building from a pre-planning standpoint. But I don't know that that'll happen.
Okay, yeah, that was my understanding. He wanted it in writing. Alderman Campos.
Yes, I did have a conversation with Mr. Boston Saturday morning about the hotel. And then he wants to know why. Do we do this to all private property? Because he said it is a private property. And the Laclede itself, and I'm just passing the message to the world, doesn't have electricity, water, or gas. So there is none hazard there. The roof has been fixed, he's working, he's gonna have gutters, and he told me some plans that he have for it. But he say, a phone call to have my building inspected, I say, yeah, I don't care, the building is okay. And whenever, the emergency happen, I allow, for example, whenever we have the flooding in Grand Tower, he allowed the people to use his building as a storage, did not charge a cent. And he does that. But he feels that us putting the building on our agenda is somehow will hinder his ability to maybe find people that will be interested on invest. Otherwise, he has been doing this on his own. There is a lot of money, but he said, why? This is private property. And there is not a structural risk, because I did submit a structural engineering report, thank you, to the code enforcement office. And so I said, I'll pass this along, and then we can tell him why.
Mr. McCollum?
Well, my point is, any building that's set unoccupied that got a danger of anything falling off on it, on the street or a person, our fire department, I don't know if they can deny them, Ed could probably answer that, the right to inspect that building just because the owner says, well, I had this fixed. I mean, how long ago was it that he had this fixed or anything updated? How many years ago? A lot can happen in them years. Is that I still think the chief or Eric should be able to go in and look at it. I think that is their right.
I would say, I mean, we don't have the authority to just go into somebody's building if they don't want us in there.
There's a procedure, we would have to actually, if somebody refuses us, in a non-emergency situation, refuses us access, then there's a procedure for us to go to the circuit court, get authority to, and it's like a search warrant, and get authority to go in and inspect the building. So there is a procedure for it, it requires court action. I've never done it in my tenure.
I mean, you would have to have some sort of valid reason.
That's what the court would be looking at, is whether or not that was a legitimate reason for going in.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like to me that Dan Bost is willing to allow you to go in if you put it in writing.
Possibly. He said send it, and that's just, for the purpose of diagramming, should something occur inside the building, that type of thing. But at this point, it's an unoccupied building, it's not a licensed business or anything like that, it's private property. And, you know, if he'll allow me to, then yeah, I will still attempt that.
Alderman Bratton?
I don't know how we can expect our city firemen to go in and fight a fire in a 3- or 4-story building when they don't know what they're going into.
I can tell you, if that building were on fire, we're not gonna go into that building. We will not do an interior attack on that building. That's on my list of buildings that you won't see us going in.
Because, I mean, your safety is important to everybody.
Mr. Pittman?
I mean, the conversation I have with Danny, based on that is, and Mr. Sheldon said the same thing too, is that they feel like they're being singled out. If we have a policy that says this is what we want to do to every building of a certain square footage and a certain layout in town, and we want to go through and present that same letter to every building in town, and we want to go through and inspect it, that's one thing. But if we're just going to go to him and say, hey, we want in your building right after he gets put on the agenda, what it looks like to him is that we're trying to get in there to see what's going on with the building, not that we want a layout for the firemen, and I get that from him.
We do pre-plans on businesses that are open and operating and commercial structures. This is privately held at this point, so it's a little bit different.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm hoping that he'll let me to go in to get the diagram and that type of thing.
If we're going to do that, we
I'm not
need to
gonna
list
make
out every building that falls under those same,
I don't have a problem with that if it makes our fire department,
I don't
employees safer.
But I'm just relaying the conversation about his. Right now, he feels like he's being singled out after being on the agenda that his building is allegedly in disrepair, that then we say, oh, no, we just want in there for the fire department to get a layout on it, you know, that it's a timing issue there. He's saying that if you're gonna go through every building in town that meets the same criteria as mine, then I'm fine with that, send out a letter to everybody and, but I'll let him know.
The chief will be able to go by and talk to anybody who wants to and ask to go through there and if he'll got to make a case for his farmers.
Right, I mean, he can ask, but I don't think he can,
Well, he supports the issue like Ed said, but I'm not there going through all of that either.
Okay.
So, to be clear, because I told him that I will contact him after, and probably, I don't know if it's a meeting, he might be watching this council meeting, that it's fair to say that we are not touching La Clé because it's in this, is in need of repair. We want a layout for the fire department, basically.
Yeah, I think that, if our code office, looks at some of the plywood that's in the windows, and says this doesn't meet code for a boarded up window, then he should be communicated with, to say, you need to replace these boards in these windows. And then, in conjunction with that, if we want to, set forth a broader policy about, our historic buildings in town, which Laclede would certainly be one, and so would be, the old Montgomery Ward building that the Ewings are in, and things of this nature for inspections, then we should do that.
I did address, I'm sorry, Mayor, the window situation with him, and he does have a plan, but the windows, he had the original windows of the hotel, and he bored them out to protect the glass.
Right,
From
and some of those
being-
boards have just deteriorated and could probably
Yeah,
use
well,
replaced.
Yes, but the windows,
Are
the
there
original
windows?
windows are there, he's just protecting them.
Are there windows behind the boards that?
Yes.
Right. I mean, if
Well-
there's windows there, he technically doesn't have to have it boarded up.
I'm not sure how it breaks down. I walked around there the other day and, I could see one instance where there was a deteriorated board and there seemed to be nothing behind it. But that was just one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that. My question is, with some of these on here, is like, what's our end goal for having these on the agenda? Are we gonna keep all these on the agenda until the construction's done on all of them? Cause they're gonna be on there for years.
No, they ain't.
Yes, they are. Are you gonna invest in them?
I
and
thought we
start,
did
you know?
discuss that one night, because if we don't keep some of the stuff on here, it falls under the cracks and then nothing is ever done. So, this kinda helps us.
I mean, can we get like a quarterly update from Eric instead of having them on an agenda twice?
That's fine, but I'd like, it's not, and I'm not chairman of that committee, but I'd like to have the old depot and South 14th Street on there until they are complete, please.
I do check with Eric or Leandra, every other week before our meeting to see if there's any updates, if I can report anything, but some of the things we do get the same answers over and over, and nothing's ever done.
I mean, cause these aren't the only
Yeah.
buildings in disrepair around town. I mean, we could make a bigger list. If we're gonna put them on there, I mean, depends on what reason we want them on there. If we want them on there because they are vacant buildings under construction, let's get a list of all of them and treat them all the same instead of, picking a handful of them and just doing it and putting them on the agenda.
I don't think anybody picked out any boss.
No, I'm not saying.
in his Laclede.
I'm-
So he is
no.
wrong 300% there. I don't think there's anybody on this council that did that.
But I see what he's saying is why my building and not the other 25 buildings in
What
town
other
that are in
buildings he want on
similar.
there?
What's that?
You ask him what other buildings he wanted on there?
No, I mean, he didn't ask for that to be on there. I don't know, it's his, his prerogative to put anything on the agenda.
Well, I would ask that the fire chief draft that letter. We'll continue to pursue it in that aspect, and then we'll put on the agenda for our next meeting, the concept of, doing a wider, pre-planning. And so I'd like to see what the fire chief, can present us in terms of.
Yeah, we've already begun that, compiled a list. They had started that before I came. I've expanded it, and we we've compiled the list, we've got from the water office, the list of businesses, and we're in the process of deciding which ones that we're gonna do. Probably approximately 80 to 100 businesses each year, give about 20 or 25 to each shift to go in and do a full pre-plan. Those pre-plans then will be put on the mobile data terminals in the fire truck and in my car, so that we can access that information on scene. So that's all in the works.
Thank you. Under new business, we have discussion regarding planting of trees on the boulevard at Longfellow Park, and we have discussion regarding Walnut Street signage, and I'm gonna turn both of those over to the mayor. He knows what's going on, familiar with it.
Thank you, Mr. Bastian. I'm not sure regarding the issue at Longfellow. We do have Joe Fry here from the Park District. Perhaps he can enlighten me.
Yes, so we planted, Boy Scout group came through as a community service project and planted some trees at Longfellow. We planted some in the boulevard, replaced trees that we took down last year. We were not aware that there was a city ordinance against planting in the boulevard. So they contacted me from the code office, let me know that we had planted those there, made me aware of the ordinance. She said if we wanted to have the trees there, that we could come to the city council, and if there's a case that it would be possible to maybe get an exception. But that was as far as we went with it, with Leandra.
Only if they're gumball trees.
Definitely not that.
How big of trees, Joe, are they? Are they able to be transplanted to another spot without major damage to them?
They are small trees, so it would not be, other than just the time to do it. It wouldn't be a hassle for us to remove them and transplant them. The reason that we planted them there was to replace the trees that we did take down last year. We felt that as a park, we have an obligation to provide, a picturesque area and everything else. And planting them in the boulevard made more sense than bringing them inside the fence where we cut into recreational area and it being inside of the fence looking more like a prison yard than a park. But we do understand that it was an ordinance, and if we violated it and it's the city council's budget, we'd be happy to take them out.
I think everybody on the council, I think, is familiar with why that ordinance is there, and it's primarily because once those trees grow up, particularly emergency vehicles like ambulance and fire, whenever they approach an intersection, if there's trees in the boulevard, it impedes their view potentially for oncoming traffic, and it also causes an issue once they get big enough. The root systems inevitably will upturn the sidewalk, and then we have to re-pour that sidewalk and run into issues in that regard. So it would be my preference that they be moved just because of the history of issues we've had with them. And I hate to make you guys do that, but it's a situation where we've complained about it enough about everybody else that I wouldn't feel justified in my own mind by making an exception in this case. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
Exactly, we ought to lead by example, not exception.
That's it.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
we don't need,
I'd make a motion that
I don't know, do we need a,
one.
I don't know that we need a motion, I think.
Okay.
I think we have a
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Thank you for being here, Joe.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Discussion regarding Walnut Street signage. I have had a couple of complaints, specifically 3 complaints about signage along Walnut Street. Specifically, there is one shop near the Lovin Family and Home shop that puts what's called a feather sign out front of their business, advertising CBD oil for sale. And regardless of what is being advertised, I am uncertain when it comes to things being placed in the right of way there, particularly what our ordinance says. I did look that those particular style of signs have been banned in hundreds of communities across the country because they have a tendency to just proliferate all the way down the boulevard. And we are trying to create a certain atmosphere and look to our downtown, and I'm not sure that adds to it. So I wanted to bring it to the council for discussion and see what everybody else thought about it. Mr. Irvis.
Well, you know, I'm not sure what I think about it, but I point out that the farmer's market is also using it, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. They've got a big one up there on Saturday mornings now that says Farmers Market, so. Mr. Pearson?
I think we have an ordinance about signs on the boulevard, don't we? And signs between the boulevard and anywhere on the boulevard, even all over town, which we don't enforce very often anymore. That ordinance has been in effect for a long time. The sidewalk and the boulevard.
I guess my
I
question.
don't think anybody ever, I don't know that it's been enforced in the last several years.
I think it's enforced
But
for
we do
yard
have-
sale signs and stuff. I've seen them take those taken down and it's good enough.
And you know, one argument I heard was that, well, that's not a sign, that's a flag, and we just got done with Memorial Day, and we had about 100 American flags in the boulevard. So, I don't know how that stands up in court, but,
That's not bad.
I just wanted to gauge the council's level of offense to the signage itself. I mean, what I'm looking for here is, does it bother you or not?
Well, I think we either ought to enforce the sign ordinance or not enforce it.
Because.
Mr. Bastian?
Go ahead. No, finish then.
Here, 7 or 8 years ago, one of the people in the code office, who's not present, had an altercation with somebody because she had signs all over town and whatever. And it wasn't handled just exactly right, but anyway, you know, and after that, I don't know if the ordinance was revised or what, but, you know, we actually, I think, gonna have 2 or 3 week vacation off without pay. But, so my thing is, we either enforce it on all the signage, or we don't enforce it at all.
Ms. Hughes?
I'd like to know what the ordinance actually says. Is it any signage, or is it, I was under the impression that the signage that was in that ordinance, and I could very well be wrong, were those lighted ones that are on wheels.
Pull behind trailer signs?
Yeah,
Yeah, those
yeah.
are not supposed to be in town at
No,
all.
I didn't know that there was any other signage ordinance actually, except for boulevard things like yard sales. I mean, Scott takes them off his corner all the time, I know that.
When they're by the courthouse.
But I don't know if,
Mhm.
you know, those feather signs are newer than what that ordinance is actually. So if we're going to do anything with it, we need to look at the ordinance and include whatever we really want in it.
All right, well, I would just tell the council that then I will plan on perhaps revisiting that ordinance with our city attorney and see what we have is making sense, and for now, we'll just sort of,
We've had 3 complaints about the feather sign though.
how about that specific sign?
See, I think those are so much less offensive than those big lighted things.
One was a person walking down the sidewalk who said that the wind was blowing it out into the
Well,
sidewalk
okay,
or
I
whatever.
can see that.
And then, 2 of the other people said they just thought it was ugly. So what are you gonna do about it, Mayor?
All your fault.
Right.
Well, what are you gonna do?
One of the rules, there's a lot of different rules, and there's different sign requirements in different zoning districts, but one of the rules here is that signs that extend below a point 10 feet above the ground or pavement shall be located, no sign shall be located closer than 10 feet from the public right of way. That would pretty well eliminate boulevards. I don't think we generally have boulevards that are 10 feet wide. There's another sign that says that it can't be higher than 8 feet. If it's a standing sign, it can't be higher. So, I mean, we have a lot of different rules about that. We don't have one specifically for that particular kind of sign, other than it would be a height limitation of where you can put it, but you won't be able to put it in the boulevard.
Okay. Well, of course, you know, that'll bring forth a lot of other questions about, you know, how we want to enforce the, you know, Knights of Columbus and things that they do and the things that other charitable organizations do in the community and how they advertise those events, so.
And all our business is
Political
on one
signs.
street, I mean, it's gotta
Right.
be, I agree with Dan. I mean, I think if we're gonna enforce it, we need to, but I'm in favor of letting them put their little signs up there on the streets. It's gonna help bring business to town.
All right, well, I'll come back with a more firm position. We can either vote it up or vote it down at the next meeting.
So I guess, Sandra, if you could please keep that on the agenda for the next meeting, and do we have any public comment? Yes.
One, I would like to also put in the agenda, the house that is on 12th Street next to our, material,
Public Works Department,
Public Works Department, yes.
the contract to tear it down has been let, and it should be down anytime.
Okay, because I went through today, there was not even the chain to limit access. in
Yeah,
that.
I've been harping on that for probably 2 years,
So it's going down.
yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Don't put it in the agenda.
Take a different street.
Any other comment? With that being said, we can close, public improvement and move to public works.
All right, we'll go to Public Works, Chair by Mr. Dan Pratt.
Under old business, discussion and update of flooding issues and legal actions. Do you have any information, Harold, for us?
No, we still have not finalized, we're trying to come up with a plan to keep that on the school side, which would alleviate, I guess, a lot of the problems, but, you know, we still need to identify what we're doing on the rural side, so hopefully next meeting we'll have that and get that.
We could possibly get by without going to Mr. Rubel?
Possibly, I don't know for sure yet, I mean, we're kinda, it's so, we all know it's so flat out there that, you know, I think it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, which side it's on, so we're trying to avoid using pumps also, so I think we
Correct.
talked about that before.
Okay. Under new business, consideration of request to declare equipment as surplus. I think everybody can see what's listed there. My question is, do we have anything else that we need to add to this list?
Danny, how are they gonna get rid of this stuff? I know the load splitter, has not been used hardly at all, and I think we paid $900 for that. Right, Beth?
I don't know, most of the time they take the, equipment and stuff
Canning?
out to Canning. I don't know what the game plan is on this, do you know, Sandra?
My assumption would be to take it to Kansas.
I got no problem with declaring it surplus.
So what's the pleasure of the council?
So move.
Got a motion by Compost,
Second.
second. Dougie J, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And it is for both sets,
Pardon?
both sets listed,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
it.
everything is listed there. Okay. Next thing we got on here is discussion regarding the wastewater treatment plant backhoe. Mr. Kurt, would you like to explain that to the council?
Well, worst case scenario, they come today and check it. The guy told me that he thought it was in the rear end, which was basically gonna cost $5,000, which is more than backhoe's worth. They did find out today that there's a box under there that they can rebuild, and basically it's gonna take a whole day. Long story short, $2,500. So, I don't know what you wanna do, we've gotta have it, so.
If I remember correctly, and don't hesitate to correct me, I don't think you will, that before, in one of our discussions, either council or one of the meetings that we've had, that you didn't actually need a new backhoe, and actually one could come from Public Works here, and take one of their older ones if it was in good shape, and then they, if we did go to a new one, they'd take the new one, am I correct?
Yeah, that's fine, the only thing I don't want is some go that route, and we take one of their others, that's fine. But, you know, it's just, every time Herb comes, and I know it's talked about the last meeting about the expense, you know, it's $1,500 for them to come up with anything. And just how long we're gonna keep doing this, you
Well,
know.
maybe some of the other council members know, but I don't. What's a used backhoe that would serve our purpose? What, how much money are we even talking about, like a used one that?
I have the last couple of weeks been in discussion with them on that. You know, 2012, with the same size that Darren Tim's got, you know, with relatively low hours, is gonna run you 50 grand, 55 in that area. You go on up, you run to 75 and 80 grand, so,
Does that extend the whole?
yes. So, you know, we can put the 2,500 in, that's just, you know, I know Bill was down, looked at it today, and, it's just whatever y'all wanna do.
How many hours is on it? Any
What we
idea?
have now,
Yeah,
I have no idea.
billion?
It's been here longer than I've been here, so.
Bill, what's your opinion of that?
Well, I don't.
Shade tree mechanic.
I don't have any shade trees, I'm not a mechanic either.
Okay.
Will the $2,500, where are we from there if we fix the 2,500, Jim? I mean, are we gonna, there's no way you can tell what's gonna break on that thing now.
No. And, you know, he didn't tell me this, but, you know, if you fix this and it blows the seals in the rear end,
Then you got the 5,000.
you got 5,000. So, you know, it's just,
Is it inoperable? Yeah.
excuse
Is
me,
it completely inoperable? Yeah.
not really, I mean, you gotta pump up the brakes to
Okay.
get them to hold and,
When we put it on surplus property and look for a good use for it. And if you're gonna spend 1,500, 2,500 every 2 or 3 months, whatever, I know you don't use it like those guys use theirs that much, but a good used one with low hours will last you a long time.
Any other comments, Mr. Pearson?
What kind of money do we have to deal with, Scott? I mean, if we.
Well, this kind of makes me nervous, because I didn't know this was coming. But we still don't know
I
how.
like to make you nervous.
Yeah.
What you did to me.
We still don't know what the final tally is gonna be on the road to the sewer plant, which, you know, makes me nervous too, because, you know, that's a lot of dollars, and then we have this South 20th Street thing that's come up too, so that's a lot of money at once. I'm not saying we are broke or anything, but we start having these things pile up, it starts making me a little nervous, so. Now, if we finance it, you know, like we've been doing some of the other equipment, that might be easier to swallow at this time. We can maybe get 2 or 3% loan from US Bank or something like the other backhoe has. We can look into those things for you to see what is available.
We don't have a mortgage on the backhoe now, do we?
I think that one paid off.
I
That
think,
paid off,
yeah.
and there was something else that was paid off.
The street sweeper.
Yeah, okay.
Ms. Campbell's?
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think we were going to finish one payment in June of this year, no?
Yeah, now that's general fund though, see? This
okay.
is water sewer, so 2 different pots. But you're right, I just brought those things up because, you know, US Bank is who we finance those through, and they have a fairly easy process, I think, and decent rates to finance equipment like this.
Mr. Pittman?
Something we could finance it, and then after we get it, surplus that one and put whatever we sell it for towards down on the, you know, whatever we end up buying that one for.
Certainly something we can do.
Makes sense.
If you'll let me put my 2 cents in. You know, in 2015, we bought the new backhoe, I wanna say we paid 76,000 for it. If you're looking at a 2012, it's 7 years old, and they're wanting around 50. I talked to Tim about this. He would really like to have a new backhoe. That's a 2008 model with about 2,000 tires on it. If you could get him one, take that one to the sewer plant, they would have a piece of equipment that's gonna last them forever down there. really good piece of equipment right now.
I'm fine with that, and I said that before, we don't need no
What-
backhoe down there. We
What
can
year
use
is the one?
It's a 2008.
The one at 10 hours?
Mr. Herbst, did you have something?
Exactly.
Well, I was gonna ask Darren what they had down there, and I appreciate the information. I think we should probably look at getting a newer one for.
Or I would be willing to give up my 98 and take 10 to 2.
Any other comments from the council?
I guess my comment would be, do we need to spend the $2,500 in the meantime if we're leaning on going this other direction so that you've got a more functional backhoe between now and then? No? Okay.
I wouldn't think so.
All right, well, it's just a
So
question.
if we absolutely had to, I know
We can always give them.
Darren, we can always, let us borrow anytime we need it.
Okay.
I would just soon, rather than put anything into that thing,
Our farmers
Well,
like buying those backhoes.
I kinda look at this kinda like we did, when I told Darren, as far as I was concerned, he needed to park that boom truck, because it wasn't safe. If the backhoe becomes where you don't feel like it's safe, I want it parked, and I know you'll do that. Okay, moving on, discussion regarding portable generators.
all right, quickly, hopefully, we have 2 portable generators. And Brian and I, he can chime in on this if he wants to, but through the storms and the floods, we've worked pretty hard, and we've got, and the update on the lift station, we've got things covered pretty good as far as needing generators. We hope we never need them, but fact of the matter is we will. But they have to be accessible, and they have to be centrally located. And right now, one of them's in Harrison, and the other one's at the sewer plant. I know Darren then needed more room, so we moved the portable out of the Public Works building and took down the sewer plant. Past experience, that's not a good thing, having it down there. Again, I'll go with the council. The one at Harrison's not a good thing. It's all we have available, but, time is, for us, is essential on anything like that. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes can mean a lot when you're talking about one portable generator takes care of Walmart and assisted living. And through one of the fire outages, we found, had real problems at the assisted living. Everyone took through that, so. I don't know what the options are. That's, that's kind of what we can discuss and see what we need to do, but we need to get the generators together. Public Works building, and I know they're cramped for space, but we have all our bypass pumps there, and everything's right there together. So,
In a perfect world, what would you want?
the generators to be in a building there at Public Works somewhere.
I mean, something that Mr. Pierce.
I went down there today and looked at them, at the one he has there. They're gonna require a building about 20 by 20, I would guess, to put just those 2 generators in. That one's about 15 feet long, about 8 feet wide, 7 or 8 feet wide.
We've also got 4 other trailer mounted generators, that are stored in various locations too. They're smaller than the 2 that Jim uses.
So we probably have room on, do we have room on the lot behind the Public Works building, the old,
Kennedy's property.
yeah, on the Kennedy's property for a building that would be 20 by 30?
I wouldn't put a building in there, no. No, not because we pull semis in there, they get turned around, and, there's times that we do have to go over and move some of the equipment around because it's just.
Is there a place down there that you could put a 20 by 30? Could you add on to the existing building 20 feet? I don't know how deep that building is.
If you do, then you take up the parking, and we're already limited on that, as it is too.
Aaron, are we gonna own the property below the hill and tear that house down, do you know?
I don't think so.
That would be a place that you might be able to do something big enough to store them in. The old house is below the hill. So we're, I think, in the process of the old man's out there now getting that house tore down.
Is there any room, Chief, is there any room in the firehouse number 3, the one over?
That's where 4 of the portable generators are
That's
now.
where they
It's
are.
it's pretty well maxed out. I'm working on, we've got some walls in there, kind of around this area where Brian's got some communication equipment stored. We're working on taking that out and kind of consolidating that, but there are some trusses, some wood trusses. Where'd those come from?
The wood trusses were for the original range building that they
Oh,
were
that's
gonna build
what it was.
down at the sewer plant, that have been there for
Yeah, they're sitting up in
probably
the
40
attic.
years.
Inside or outside?
Inside.
Oh,
Yeah, they're sitting in the attic, strapped up in the attic, that could be used for this building if we find a place to put it.
Mr. Mills, was there some other
There's
suggestions?
she's brought that up, there's a lot that we mow just to the south of Public Works. There's a house between us. It's a lot on 11th and Hanson, I believe that is, that the city owns. And that would be a place that something like that could be erected.
Well, I don't know what it would cost to do that, but I think the fact is, I'm constantly hearing about storage issues of all kinds from all the different departments. And so, honestly, I think we need some more storage. And we could, after I talked to the people at Apple Festival and at the hometown Christmas and everything else, we could probably put up a, 60 by 60 and make pretty good money, just rent space to all these organizations.
Still won't be big enough.
That's still I wouldn't mind pursuing the thought of adding some storage for that, so.
And if my understanding is, it could be like a pole barn construction, we don't need any heat or anything like that, correct?
You are probably gonna need electricity on the thing, because those generators, the batteries, and, they got battery shortage, and we would need some electricity.
Think he'd let us put them into a cleat?
I doubt it, really seriously, or maybe the whole people.
Yeah.
Aaron, Jim, could you add on to the public works where I talked about, use the other place for a parking lot? The Hanson Street parking lot,
Yeah, technically we could, yeah.
would that work?
The only thing I could see is there is a door on the north end of that building that we use it constantly for our concrete equipment coming and going. By doing that, then that would basically we would lose the area that we're using. And that's where the whole issue come from, is I've got a new truck that should have been here a week or two ago. We don't have a place to put it downstairs, so we had to take all of our concrete equipment out of the shop. We put it across the street. We're gonna park the new truck in, the former garage that we had. So that's where the storage problems are coming from. The trucks that we had, the Fords that were bought in 2012 were 6 foot longer than what we had. We bought a new tractor in 2013 that's got a mowing deck behind it that it takes up the whole space. So, it's just everything we've got is bigger than what we had, so.
Mr. Bratton?
I think what I would propose to do is that we get a price on some, I don't know, 24 by 30 building, or 20 by 20. I don't think, you don't wanna go too small because you're always gonna have to add to it and everything else, so get 2 or 3 quotes on that before next meeting, and maybe we can make an intelligent decision.
So now you're gonna have to figure out where we're gonna put it.
That's true. Alderman Hughes.
There's 4 of them that are stored in the second firehouse.
Correct.
Should we think about putting them all together? In
I
a
would
building?
think so, if we were gonna do
So they
that.
are gonna need bigger than 20 by 24 or whatever. If we take those 4 smaller ones out, and we have 2 larger ones also, if we're gonna do it, let's get it done right and put them all together. Unless there's an advantage for them to be in different places, and I can't imagine there would be.
I'll be glad to try to pursue that this week, so that maybe for the next week, have a couple different locations possibly where we can go with them or can't go with them.
I think Brian, and I think he'll agree, the 2 portables I'm talking about are the Prairie ones we need the most. They're the ones for Jackson Square, they're the ones for River Street out there at Walmart. Those are critical in power outages and stuff. But the other generators.
The other ones, you know, accessibility as quickly is not as critical as the ones for Jim's lift stations. You know, if we need lights somewhere, you know, typically we're gonna be dealing with a situation where we would have some time to get that, and the difference between picking something up at Public Works or driving to Harrison is not as critical for those.
How large of a building, or do you not want me to try to figure out what it's gonna cost?
Well, I think you ought to get with Jim and just figure out exactly how much you need, because I think we're kind of shooting in the dark, you know, honestly.
We'll try to come up with a couple prices for next meeting, come up with a location. Now, I forgot about that door on the north side, because that would make it a fairly less expensive, you know, situation there. Okay. All right, moving on. Consideration of motor fuel resolution for 20th Street overlay. I think everybody's got a copy of this.
Mr. Shepherd, anything to report on this outside the norm?
No, you can see the estimate there is roughly 155,000. This resolution just appropriates the motor fuel tax monies to go towards this project.
And that's running from 20th Street, from Spruce to Division?
Yes, that's correct. And that's going through the intersections too. We decided to try to go through the intersections. I know that added 16 of the handicap accessibility ramps, but I think all in all, that's probably gonna make the whole job look better.
All right, well, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. You need a roll call or just a regular roll to do it? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any public comment? You come out of public works.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bratton. That takes us into public safety, Chair by Mr. Russell Brown. Russell?
Public safety, have anything on the old business, nothing on the new business. If I got anything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm active today, but, that's not good to have long weekends, but, I was approached and asked about the 20th Street bandits.
Well, of course, we know there's a gentleman who's been placing stuff in the roadway. I think recently there's not been as much activity on that, but I know that there's been some additional surveillance put in place in the past, and also going to be, you know, hopefully done going forward. And you know, apprehend that individual. I don't know what motivates a person to just throw nails and stuff in a roadway, but I know the police department is, you know, actually working as close as they can. I don't know what else to say, Chief.
Yeah, I have nothing to say.
Okay.
Yeah, they asked me, what can we do? And I said, because somebody got nailed.
Walk.
So I just said, and I'm avoiding that street, and it's a public street. And I said, okay, I'll bring it up, and then.
I will say, I think that social media exaggerates some things, and that everybody that got a nail in their tire the last 2 weeks anywhere in Jackson County had driven down 20th Street. So there's a little bit of that going on, but there is a legitimate problem, and I know we're working it as closely as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thanks for another year by Ms. Barbara Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is informational, there's no old business, under new business. So we did have our first meeting, the negotiation team had a first meeting with the laborers and clerical, and comment on personnel we can have out there.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. That takes us to the mayor's report. I don't have anything on the agenda tonight, but I would like to thank Harold and Jim Stewart and our city attorney for working with Jackie Kruger on the annexation there. I believe that process is complete now, if I'm not wrong. And we got that hurdle cleared, so I think that's a positive thing. I'd also just mention that along with Kerry Nelson from IDOT, and Mark Keenan from Randolph County, Chris Martin from Monroe County, and a few others, I'm working with, to submit a bill grant application to the federal government for $32 million to build the section of 127, of 2-lane to 4-lane from Murphysboro to Virgins, because that's all already engineered and much of the right-of-way is already purchased, so we're still, you know, working actively to try to do some things with that. So that's where that stands also, and that's all I have. And that'll take me to council member requests. We'll go to Ms. Hughes.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Curry Winslow? Mr. Brown? Mr. Harrison? Mr. McComb?
I'd like to thank Wayne and them for going out to the cemetery with me today to take the pictures of the weeds that haven't been cut and stuff. The guy did call me. I'm gonna get with him after he looked it, supposed to look it over this evening, and we're gonna get back together and I'll get out there and show him why. And, you know, if he don't straighten up in the next 2 weeks, doing the whole thing out there, then I'll bring it back to the council to terminate that contract and put it out for somebody else if that's what the council wants to do.
Thank you, Mr. McComb. Clerk Hunt Zachary, do you want to stand up for Ameren after our earlier presentation?
Out of work.
Mr. Irvis? All right. Mr. Bratton?
Yeah, I have two questions. What is the status of our dump truck, Sandra? I knew you weren't gonna call them until the 23rd.
I did call them, and I believe it was like the 14th that was taken for the new body and plow, and then he's estimating around the 1st of June. So hopefully soon.
Okay, and I just wanted to comment, the plants and everything around the welcome to Murphysboro sign coming from Cardinville into Murphysboro was very nice. I think I saw our own Jim Stewart out there working on it the other day. Anyway, it does look very nice. Pass that on.
Very good. Mr. Bastian?
I have nothing.
Just, do you have any update, Mayor, on the crossing from 20th Street from the middle school? Will be that ready for the fall, whenever school starts?
We're talking about the Safe Routes to School grant. I just asked Sandra about that today, and we did receive notification of award, but we haven't received the next communication, which is the, grant details in terms of, how to proceed and things of this nature. So we're in a holding pattern, but typically those grants are, truly led formally and get all the details anytime. I mean, graduation was just last week, and so they know what the construction season is like. So I'm paying close attention to try to make sure we get that put together soon.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pittman? Case to department head request, we'll go to Attorney Heller.
Just wanted to follow up your comment about the treatment plant and Mrs. Kruger and the road. We will need to have a brief public hearing at 5:45 on June 25th in front of the June 25th meeting. At that point, we'll have that public hearing, then we can take the action at council to complete that annexation. Everything's ready to go. We have to give a public notice. That'll get us to that date. That'll be, we don't have time to get it on the 11th. It'll have to be done on the 25th. That's the last thing we have to do for that annexation.
All right, very good, very good. Ms. Ripley?
Nothing.
Mr. Evans?
Just a reminder that the next meeting, Kerwin and Brackle will present the audit.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Shepherd? Chief McBride?
Station 2 is now finished, the metal's put on, and I'm awaiting the bill.
Very good.
Did you expect it? I knew you would. Is it okay?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for the contractor that I will, when he brings me the bill, we'll talk about, but nothing major.
Okay.
Chief Ellenmeyer,
Have nothing.
Mr. Manwaring,
Nothing.
Mr. Mills, Ms. Wiley, Ms. Bryant. You're here. Blaine, while I'm just going around asking everybody.
No, nothing comes to mind, really.
All right, fair enough. Mr. Stewart? All right, the rest of you. Cleanup days a week from this Friday. All right, I'll take a motion to go home.
Adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let me know where they're on the news.
Right across the street. Parking issues there.